So I got to see an advanced screening of Dune, like most critics. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. Dune 2 is as good, or if not better, than Dune 1. I'm going to be a little bit more on the cautious side, the people comparing it to Empire Strikes Back. It doesn't get to be an Empire until we get to see the Return of the Jedi. So I'm going to hold, it's kind of like how I held my full opinion on the first Dune, which in respect to these two movies, these two halves of the story, it is a very masterful cinematic retelling of the Dune story in cinematic form. And it has contemporized some of the more problematic pieces of this story, considering it's 50 years old. Take, for instance, the white savior trope, which is at the forefront of the Dune movie. It is because Timothée Chalamet plays this character, Paul Atreides, who's an off-worlder who comes in to this planet of people who live in the desert who are of tan skin, and he is basically going to lead them as the Messiah to freedom. Now, Denis Villeneuve does a really interesting thing with this character by sort of making him aware of the terribleness of being the white savior, which kind of makes him more accessible and generally not terrible compared to, I guess, what the character could be. Timothée Chalamet as Paul in these films, he just wants to get revenge for his father. He wants to marry Zendaya or become her sand equal and just sort of like blow up shit in the desert. Nothing wrong with that. But it's like this whole sort of Messiah prophecy thing that he's like wrapped into. But there's also this subtext in the film about, and it's funny because Zendaya as a character in the books is a lot more submissive to the Timothée Chalamet character. And in this, she's a lot more empowered, but she's also very vocal about the fact that this prophecy of the Messiah has basically enslaved and kept their people down over the years, because why are you going to do this uprising when you can just count on the Messiah eventually coming and saving you later? The thing that really exemplifies this is Stilgar, who's played here immaculately by Javier Bardem, who is essentially the leader of the Fremen sect that Paul is kind of adopted into. And Stilgar could have easily led the Fremen to the freedom, but he doesn't. Instead, he sort of falls into as a believer and even wants to sacrifice his own self for Paul to attend this meeting of the leaders. It's good on Paul for recognizing that maybe that's not the smartest thing and sort of tells people, you know, hey, I don't want to be the Messiah. I just want to empower you as a people. And Zendaya's like, you know, these beliefs have basically made us wait around for this Messiah to help us when we could have helped ourselves in the first place. So I thought how Denis sort of brought those themes into it and sort of worked them into Dune really kind of made the piece a little bit more contemporary and relevant to our current society. Visually, it's a spectacle unlike anything we've ever seen. The Getty Prime sequence, for example, is mind-blowing. It's amazing. It's unlike anything I've ever seen in a movie in a very long time. It's just so different. The battles are huge. The sound is just there. I've seen it twice. I've seen it both in IMAX and Dolby. I'm going to upset some fanboys and say I enjoyed the Dolby more. The Dolby soundtrack is extremely aggressive. So I actually felt like I was actually riding the worm with Paul. That's how, like, it was, the whole theater was literally shaking when the sandworms were going in the battle. And that was really cool. So, you know, I'm going to say Dolby is the way to go. My personal opinion. You may be an IMAX girly. So if you're an IMAX girly, not a Dolby girly, go your own way. And that's cool. But I preferred the Dolby. So I'm going to reserve my Empire Strikes Back comparison. I'm going to say it is the most cinematic adaptation of the Dune, because the sci-fi adaptation is slightly more true to the books, because they do change some big things with this story that I kind of wasn't expecting. And the David Lynch one is just weird, and I have a nostalgic connection to that I cannot break because I grew up watching that on PHL 17 as a kid. So if you thought about Dune being Dune in the movies, this is the best possible scenario. It is amazing. It is breathtaking. It is everything you thought it could be and more. And Denis Villeneuve has proved that he's one of the best auteurs working in sci-fi fantasy right now. Sorry, Ridley Scott. Denis got your number. And, you know, we'll see if he does Doom Messiah, if he's going to be 3 for 3. But as far as I'm concerned, everything Villeneuve has done has been immaculate. This man is just, he does no wrong. So here's to waiting for Doom Messiah, and hopefully him making another holy trilogy for us nerds to sit on our shelves and sort of froth over for years to come.